Oasis Audio presents Restricted Access by Victor Appleton. Read for you by Timothy Pabon. 1. The Interrogation Frustration. I patted down the stairs as quietly as possible. I slid one hand down the handrail with the other steadying the backpack slung over my shoulder. I tried to keep my school supplies from rattling, a sound that might give away my position. Luckily, school was already out for the day, and I didn't run into any other students along the way. I'm sure I looked as if I was up to something, which I was, of course. When I reached the first floor, I peeked into the main hallway. Only a few students were in sight. A couple milled by lockers, and one shuffled toward the front door. There was no sign of him, though. I took a deep breath and stepped out. I kept a brisk but quiet pace as I made my way to the center of the building. Once at the main intersection, I could turn left toward the front entrance, or I could turn right and head out through the back door. My plan, such as it was to take a right. I mentally kicked myself for not coming up with a real plan. Instead of waiting behind an engineering class, it would have been so much easier to leave after the final bell rang. Then I could simply blend in with the crowd of exciting students. Now I was out in the open, exposed. As I neared the main junction, I could see into the hallway leading to the front entrance. I skidded to a stop. There he was, inside the school. The tall man wore a dark blue blazer and jeans. His back was to me as he peered into the chess team's trophy case. I exhaled and slowly began moving again. I shuffled down the corridor toward him. If I could just make it to the junction without being spotted, I could turn right and duck out through the back doors. Unfortunately, he must have spotted my reflection in the glass case. The man spun around as soon as I was near. "Tom!" He held up a hand. His gray speckled beard stretched across his face as he grinned. I nodded and sighed. I hitched up my backpack, gave a weak smile, and walked over to him. "Sorry." I jutted a thumb back down the hall. "I was just, It doesn't matter, you're here now," said Mr. Kavner. He ushered me toward the front door. "Let's sit on the front steps, get some air." Stephen Kavner was a friend of my father's. Normally not someone I'd want to avoid, but he was also a journalist who wanted to interview me for a story. That was something that I wished I could avoid. Mr. Kavner and I sat on one of the long cement steps. "State your name, please," he said. I cocked my head a little. "But you already know my name." Mr. Kavner grinned. He tapped the tiny body cam poking out of the front pocket on his blue blazer. "Yeah, but just for the record." I sighed. "Tom Swift, Jr." "Great," said Mr. Kavner. "And where do you go to school?" I glanced up at the school's name stretching across the building above us. He just pointed to the small camera again. "The Swift Academy of Science and Technology," I replied. Mr. Kavner nodded. "Tell me a little bit about your school." I squirmed a bit inside again. "Well, it's a special school where we get to learn advanced subjects, create our own inventions, and go on cool field trips. Stuff like that." I knew I was really underselling it. The academy was way more than that. Advanced subjects? How about aerodynamics and engineering to go along with algebra and history? Create your own inventions? It wouldn't be unusual to see robots or drones zipping through the halls. I would know, I piloted some of them. And as far as cool field trips were concerned, last year the 8th graders had a lock-in at the Wesley Observatory. Chandra Watts even discovered a comet. Yeah, I knew my description didn't do the school justice, and Mr. Kavner knew it too. He rolled his eyes. "Gee, Tom," he said with a wide grin, "I couldn't help but notice that you and your school share the same name." I rubbed the back of my neck and shifted a bit on the hard step. "Yeah, my dad founded the school with the profits from his company, Swift Enterprises." Of course, Mr. Kavner was well aware of this, too. After all, he and my father had gone to college together. They had even worked on some inventions together. But I guess somewhere along the way, Mr. Kavner's interests had changed. The only reason I had agreed to the interview was because he was a friend of my father's.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?